everybody, Tyrone TG3 here. So, here we are. Another Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima, released on October 11th of 2024. A crazy day if you're a Dragon Ball fan. While the anime release, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, had its official launch. Although, let's face it, if you're a Dragon Ball gamer, you played this 3 days earlier, even if the digital release had to force you to cancel your physical copy because it wouldn't come until 7 days later. You, Amazon! Anyway, it's been a crazy year for Dragon Ball as it's reached its 40th anniversary this year. And the father of said franchise, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. But before passing, Toriyama gave us one final story with Goku and friends, known to us way back in the beginning of the year as Dragon Ball Daima. And no other piece of info was released for a while. But that title was all Dragon Ball fans needed to know before they were going to be eating good for the whole year. So, now that the wait is over, the first 2 episodes are out. How do I feel about this new series, Dragon Ball Daima? Well, let's find out. So first, that summary. And I'm not even going to put spoiler warnings on because if you're watching this, odds are you've seen the first 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Daima and just want my opinions on them. If you haven't seen them and want to know, you should probably watch the series or click right here for my overall critique. So, the first episode starts off with King Goma and his assistant watching Dragon Ball Z, as they should. It's a great anime. We also learn that King Goma's assistant is Supreme Kai's younger brother. Don't you just love when prequels pull random important characters out of their ass for origin's sake? Anyway, after seeing Deborah die, we learn that Deborah being dead is worth way more than he was when he was alive. I love that Deborah lore-wise is connected to so much shit, yet when he was alive, it was like a slight inconvenience. And with his death, as well as the death of Babidi and Kid Buu, all of the threats towards Goma are out of the way, and now he's dubbed King of the Demon World. That was easy. But all is not well for Goma as Anarisu, Supreme Kai's younger sister, what the hell, how many siblings does this guy suddenly have, shows up and warns Goma that the warriors that defeated Buu could very well try to defeat Goma if he isn't careful. Because of this, Goma decides that he wants to go down to Earth and use their Dragon Balls to turn Goku and the others into children. They do this because it's considered a non-evil wish, which I want to talk about that. Does Earth's dragon care about morality and wishes? I mean, yeah, most of the wishes Shinran's granted are for good guys, but what about King Piccolo's wish for immortality? Then again, giving someone immortality isn't really considered evil. I guess it's how they use it. Moving on, though the second wish would be to gain an item known as the Evil Eye. So they quickly gather one of the oldest Namekians who still lives in the demon realm, who goes by the name of Neva, who, aside from being bad at hygiene, has the power to not only pull the Dragon Balls to one place, he also has the power to activate them even after they've already been turned into stone. You know, to get the plot moving and still use the Dragon Balls after the Buu Saga time frame. So, when they all travel to Earth and make it to the lookout, and Dende and Popo try to stop the three at... What? That was your defense? That's how you were gonna stop the villains from using the Dragon Balls? What the hell? That was pathetic, and what's with the offer for the drink? Unless you know he was talking about... So after the wish, Goku and the others turn into kids. Wait. New Dragon Ball series? Check. Short imp-like villain goes to the lookout? Check. Turns Goku into a kid using lore-based Dragon Balls, and... Wait a Dragon Ball picking second? This is just Dragon Ball GT! Jokes aside, let me back up for a minute. So it turns out Demon Realm does have its own set of Dragon Balls. They only need 3 of them actually, which is convenient. However, the catch is the Demon Realm's Dragon Balls are guarded by these warriors known as the Tamagamis. And thus, no one in the Dragon World has been able to get their wishes granted, thus they risk getting smacked down. Imagine, warriors that actually have the Dragon Balls in them, and thus in order to get the Dragon Balls, you have to defeat Dragon Ball G! Stop that! When we finally cut to Earth, it's Trunks' 9th birthday. Krillin comments on his height. Wow. Pot calling the kettle black there, huh, buddy? To which Goku explains that Saiyans don't get their growth spurt till 15. Hold up! Why does Goku know this information? Also, very briefly, let's get into it. So the reason this is explained is for damage control as to why Trunks and Goten stay young in Dragon Ball Super, which chronologically would be the series after this one. However, this is wrong because in the history of Trunks, he's 14.
Actually, this is an anime-only OVA, and it's not part of the...
Here's Trunks in the history of Trunks in the manga version, same age.
Well, damn.
Second, why is Goku of all people qualified to tell anyone how Saiyans' bodies work? That honor belongs to Vegeta. But damage control doesn't stop there. Supreme Kai and Kibito are at the party and Goku asks them, how did they defuse? Since they were formerly Kibito Kai, Kibito states that Boo's body contains gases that counter the effects of the Potara earrings, and thus they let themselves get absorbed by Boo and have Boo spit them out so they can defuse. And well, I know this is part of the video is gonna take up the most time, so buckle up, cause ooh. So, to explain why this is a problem, we need to go all the way back to the Boo arc where Goku and Vegeta did use the Potara earring fusion in order to form Vegeta, but then they got absorbed. When they got absorbed, the fusion wore off even though it was stated to be permanent, but then Vegeta says this line right here that has the audience believe that Boo's body rejects the Potara fusion, and it has to be the Potara fusion because he was able to absorb Gotenks just fine. But that later got debunked when we found out that only Kaioshin's fusions are permanent. Later in Dragon Ball Super, however, Goku asked the exact same question to Kibito and Supreme Kai as to how they got diffused. Turns out they used the Dragon Balls in order to diffuse. That was in both the anime and the manga. So now we go back to the Boo saga, and Boo has the gases that negate the Potara fusion thing, only for them to go back and say that later, if you look at this in Dragon Ball Super in chronological order, they use the dragon. Which one is it? The Dragon Balls? Did they use the Dragon Balls to diffuse, or did they use Boo's gases? Ah! Oh God. See, this is the damage control I was talking about earlier. Dragon Ball Daima is a prequel to a sequel that's technically a prequel to the end of Dragon Ball Z. Oh God, explaining this out loud, I sound like a crazy person. This is the ending result of when writing gets mixed up all over the place. I know this isn't a large focus of the episode and I should just enjoy the shiny new show, but the first episode is full of stuff like this. Damage control for the sake of world building. On a 40-year established world, it's also revealed that in this episode that apparently all Namekians originated from the demon realm. And that's damage control for people who question why King Piccolo's existence was him being a demon, as well as Dragon Ball Z later saying that Piccolo is an alien. I had no reason to not believe that both could be true, that he's an alien that also happens to be a demon. But this show feels like it's trying its damnedest to have its cake and eat it too. The first episode being full of these is definitely what hurts it. It's almost like it was trying way too hard to cover its own ass. But again, it's a 40-year-old franchise, so stuff like this was bound to come up eventually. Let me get through this before I lose my mind. So, one thing I do like about the first episode is Shinron. For some reason, he gets very specific about his wish granting. When Goma wished for the cast to be children, he asks what age he wants them to be, and what about the ones that are already children. Honestly, it's hilarious. I wonder what would happen if Shinron was always like this. Dragon, I wish for eternal youth. How old? What? What do you consider youth? That's like hella vague. And when you say eternal, do you mean like you want to stay that age? Or like you want to be young and then it like resets after a while? Age and youth realistically are more like concepts than tangible numbers. I mean, a 60-year-old could feel young inside realistically. Anyway, moving on to episode 2, where Shinron gets funnier by telling Goma that multiple wishes are for regular customers. What the hell? Shinron does deals now. Next thing you know, he's gonna grant one wish and make the second wish half off. So anyway, when Goma learns that he's not on the Shinron's extra wish list, he leaves, but not without taking Dende. And this is where the plot really starts moving. The cast find out they're kids, and what's odd, Master Roshi's bald. Was he always bald? I know there was a Dragon Ball filler where he has hair, but what's really odd is that Krillin goes back to being bald. So again, was Master Roshi always bald? Krillin states that they've shrunk more than just turned into kids. Also, the ones that are already kids got turned into babies. In retrospect, why didn't Goma just ask Shinron to turn them all into babies? Is he stupid? Ignoring that giant plot hole, Goku, Supreme Kai, Kibito, and Piccolo go up to the lookout and learn of the villains responsible for this and taking Dende. Bulma and Vegeta later join them on the lookout to prep for the ship to head to the Demon Realm where Goma had taken Dende. While working on the ship that they just had this whole time, ignoring that, Goku trains to get used to his new body, only to discover his reach is too short because he's a kid. I'm mixed on this. I mean, yeah, Goku's been an adult longer than he's been a kid at this point, so naturally he's got to get back into the groove of his new body. But it seems extremely obvious that this is the setup for the power pole to make its return, which I have no problem against, but it shouldn't feel too obvious. But hey, we do get this joke of Master Roshi using Goku's power pole as a clothesline. That's kind of funny. Also, while making preparation for the ship, Kibito makes a joke that he feels like he's being treated like a servant by Bulma. Try being Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super. This is tame compared to that, buddy. Anyway, we get introduced to a new character from the Demon Realm named Glorio. We don't really know much about him right now, but he does seem to know Goku based off the events that he saw from the Demon Realm and their fight with Majin Buu. So Glorio wastes no time in asking Goku to help him stop Goma and Degesu. Once Supreme Kai hears those two names, he wastes no time joining Goku and Glorio, and they set off after Bulma does a vibe check on the ship to learn the tech just by looking at it. Yep. Good old genius Bulma only needs to stare at demonic tech once and she knows the ins and outs of it. Honestly, I'm not bothered by this because it does show off her skill, and I'm glad she didn't just get it right away and make the ship right at that moment. So it's good they're divvying out the cast and sending them to the Demon Realm at different times. Really helps sell the realism of the situation. Now, I suppose you all want me to talk about the main cast we have for this series, and for that, I won't, at least not now, until they're all gathered together. I feel like that rant is due for another day. But for now, since Goku and Supreme Kai are traveling with the mysterious Glorio, they're off to the Demon Realm, and that ends episode 2 of Dragon Ball Daima. So that was the first 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Daima. What do I think of them? Well, I'm mixed. But before I get into all of that, I want to say this. Yes, I'm fully aware that this is Toriyama's final love letter to us, the fans, before he passed. May he rest in peace. And I owe him everything as far as my love for Dragon Ball and anime in general. However, I don't feel I'd be doing him or myself justice if I just played it safe and said everything's perfect. I'm aware my critiques can be harsh at times, but I rest assure you I'm only harder on things that I'm passionate about. If I didn't care about them at all, I wouldn't even bother. So when I do this review, as well as any review I want to do, I'd make sure to do my best to give a fair review regardless of outside sources. I aim to be fair, not mean. I also aim to be honest, not cater for the sake of staying positive. So with that being said, honestly, Dragon Ball Daima's biggest weakness is its beginning. It uses up a lot of time for setup, lore dump, damage control, and retcon. Sadly, it's clear that it's trying way too hard to make everything fit when it can't. Dragon Ball is a 40-year-old series that realistically could have ended a while ago, and I love the back-to-basics adventure that cracks the show off very clearly if you're a longtime Dragon Ball fan like myself. The show is playing it so safe at the beginning that it feels like it's hurting itself in the progress, and it makes the audience ask more questions in its attempt to solve questions. Having Goku origin dump Saiyan anatomy, Namekians really being demons, Supreme Kai having 2 siblings all of a sudden, the Patara earring mess, it all feels like a desperate attempt to cover all bases, but then slips and falls on its own logic. People can just say, Tyrone, it's a fun show, just enjoy the ride. And I want to, believe me, but I only bring these things up because the show brings them up and makes it a mission to cover these topics in episode 1. And what's worse, it spends time dumping them on us. Other than that, thankfully episode 2 gives us more time to spend with the characters, and while I personally feel Daima could have played around more with our new shrunken sized cast before sending them off to the Demon Realm, seeing the classic Toriyama humor and cheekiness of Goku and the others is a nice warm welcome. It's also good that since this takes place before Dragon Ball Super and as the characters get weaker, it means things won't be annoyingly power scaled. I'm definitely looking forward to a series that has lighter stakes and a fun adventure. But now that I've said all that, I need to say the only real thing now is to see how the series plays out. So, that was my review, and I hope you all liked it. I know I had a great time checking out Dragon Ball Daima and writing this review. If you're a newcomer to Dragon Ball series, I definitely say watching this after Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Given that this takes place right after those two series, it would be an interesting way to jump into things. If you're a longtime fan, I'm sure you're looking forward to the journey through the Demon Realm with our new cast. Next time we meet, I'll be reviewing episode 3 of Dragon Ball Daima, and I can't wait to see you all there. If you liked this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep up with Dragon Ball reviews, as well as my other endeavors, click on that subscribe button. Maybe give that bell a ring and you can get access to videos right when they drop. If you want to check me out more, I spend most of my nightlife on Twitch, where, hey, look at that, I'm playing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the latest Dragon Ball game, on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Central. That was oddly specific. As well as other fun games all throughout the week. That said, I'll see you all later, everyone. Tyrone TG3 out, and to you all, a new adventure.